Is this about the apartment on Kings Highway?
Is this about the what?
Apartment?
Yes. It's a 2-bedroom. The shower works fine. And what other questions do you have?
How much is it a month?
$750.
I mean, is that all it includes?
Heat, electric, air conditioning, and don't let the smell bother you. It hasn't bothered the last 2 or 3 people who have lived there. We're not sure it was a skunk. Most people, when they guess, they say skunk. Yeah. But it doesn't bother most people.
Okay.
Now, the guy above you, he was never convicted.
Okay.
And there's only one other problem.
Nick.
My pet dog, Sparky, I can't keep him anymore, and he has to stay in the apartment.
In the apartment that I'm
Yes,
in
fact, I'll tell you what. I'll knock off $100 if you continue to watch Sparky for me.
All right.
You want to think about it, or?
$650.
$650.
You know what? $600. If you watch Sparky, $600.
All right.
When can you move in?
On the 1st of the month.
All right. Now, you sure about Sparky?
I'm fine.
You sure about that? I don't know. Sparky, down, boy. Sparky, take it easy. Sparky, down, boy.
Is he a mean dog?
Sparky, down, boy. Sparky, down, boy. Yeah. If you don't make eye contact, everything's fine.
That's fine.
Okay. All right, let me put you on hold. We'll get right back to you, okay? There you go. The hell is going on?
As long as you don't make eye contact.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? It's a neighborly day in this beauty wood, a neighborly day for a beauty. Please, won't you be my neighbor? I have always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you. So let's make the most of this beautiful day. Since we're together, we might as well say, please, won't you be my neighbor? I'll be back next time. Bye-bye.
I'm just getting warmed up.
Happy to see you again.
Don't be nervous, don't be rocky. You're a teenage guest jockey now.
And let me begin by wishing you...
Battling with some of the laryngitis issues, but we just forge ahead at this point. I'm just trying to ignore it, and hopefully nobody hears me like this, who's known me for a real long time, and thinking, my God, he sounds like he's 106. This too shall pass. That's all I can say. This is some sort of reaction in my body to some steroid shots that I had a couple of weeks ago, and it just shuts off my throat. There's nothing I can do about it except, like I said, forge ahead. Got a lot of really good stuff for you here today. And as we do every week to kick off the show, it is time for the Sunday Pickup, a hodgepodge, a collection, bits and pieces, stories that may have flown under the radar for you and me and everybody else. It's sort of hard to get used to the idea that we got an American Pope. I don't know about you, but I'm used to some old dude standing on the balcony out there with a thick Italian accent trying to speak English. And we welcome the children here to the Vatican. You know, that kind of stuff. Now we got this American Pope who grew up about 5 miles from me on the south side of Chicago. I still can't get used to that. So he's driving along the Vatican in the Pope-mobile the other day, and somebody yells to him, "Go Cubs!" But he grew up on the south side, which means you're a Sox fan, and the Pope Leo, yells back at the guy who yelled at him, "Go Cubs!" Pope Leo yells, "They lost!" He's giving the guy attitude. It's hilarious. Speaking of baseball, what do you think the average number of pitches a baseball put into a Major League Baseball game lasts? In other words, here you go, pitcher asks for a new ball. Here you go. 3 pitches. 3. That's the average. And when if you've ever, opened up a baseball, whether you were just using an old ball and it finally just came apart and you were like, look at all this stuff in here. It's sort of complicated. Look how cheap the NFL is. They put up a screen so you can't even catch a ball with a field goal and an extra point. And yet you have these baseballs, which are, like I said, if you open one up and look at it, it's like, holy crap. These things probably look like they should cost $100 a piece. They don't, because they make them in Costa Rica. Every Major League Baseball that has ever been used has been stitched up in Costa Rica. So they got all that labor, all that material, all that yarn, rubber, horsehide, everything. They make it, and then somebody's got to hand stitch it, and the damn thing only is in the game for 3 pitches. It's amazing. I don't know anybody who at some point in their life was not a fan of the Jetsons. Daughter Judy was hot, but you know who was hot? Jane, his wife. Maybe that's just because I'm getting older. I don't know. God, as I think about it, does that mean that the older I get, someday I'm going to be watching reruns of the Golden Girls and Estelle Getty is going to look hot to me? Well, man. Anyhow, back to the Jetsons. Now, that series went on the air in 1962, but it was supposed to be portraying life in 2063. And that's where we first saw flying cars. And, for a long time, they told us, by the time you hit like 1985 or something like that, oh, yeah, we're going to have flying cars. We still don't have flying cars. We got drones. But in terms of you being able to go out to the garage and get into something and just take off, yeah, we don't have that. And I think one of the major reasons is, how the hell do you keep people from crashing into each other in the middle of the sky? In the water, we got these things down here in Florida. You can see where you're not supposed to go because the water's too shallow. If you're driving around on the street, you got traffic signals and lines painted on the street so you know not to crash into one another. What do you do in the middle of the air? How do you regulate that so that people don't crash into one another? That's the biggest. I think the technology is probably already there. I've seen a couple of things on the news in the last couple of years that do indicate that it is possible to get into something and take off in it. But again, how do you make it safe? Anyhow, with all that in mind, Jim Carrey is in talks to star in a live-action version of the Jetsons. I am so there. If you have Spotify and you got the one where you have commercials, you might have been startled recently to hear ICE recruitment ads. Attention all men. Do you have a small penis? Has nobody ever respected you? Would you like to get even? Been a lot of protests and even boycotts. And Spotify says, hey, you know what? Their money is green. Forget it. The ICE recruitment ads stay. I'm in the process of pulling way back from social media, and there's a lot of reasons why. Because at this point, I don't know, at any given time, 60, 70% of what I get on Facebook, for example, is phony in one way or another. Either it's AI, or it's just completely made-up information, or just some sort of garbage. And Zuckerberg's not kidding me. You know how Facebook started? Do you remember? Did you see the social network? He invented Facebook, or at that time it was called the Facebook. He invented it to rate chicks on campus. Oh, but they're so holier than thou. Baloney. Stuff is all garbage. And they did a new study, and they said that about 52% of what you're getting on social media right now is AI. California Highway Patrol stopped a driver this month who had an elaborate hand-drawn license plate. The driver said it's all legit. They just lost their actual plate, so why not? I'll just draw one. $200 fine. Oh, I'm with you. Oh, the Diane Keaton thing hit me right between the eyes. Just fell in love with her for Annie Hall. And that's her real name, by the way. Her real name is Diane Hall. She grew up in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. Michael Keaton, the actor, his real name is Michael Douglas. He picked Keaton as a stage name because there already was an actor named Michael Douglas, and he liked the way Diane Keaton's name sounded, so he said, no, I'm Michael Keaton now. But that's not her name. Her name is a stage name, too. Her real name is Diane Hall. And that is why when Woody Allen made the movie, he called it Annie Hall. 70-year-old man in Italy was caught after pretending to be blind for over 50 years because he was getting over $1 million in disability payments. He faked being blind for 50 years. Speaking of stage names, Keanu Reeves was told to go by a different name at the start of his career, so he came up with the name Chuck Spadina. It's a combination of his middle name, Charles, and the street he grew up on. What is today? October 19th. 2 months from now, it'll basically be Christmas. And you'll be happy to know that Lifetime Cable has come up with an exciting array of holiday motion made for TV movies, including my favorite title of all, A Pickleball Christmas. They've got 12 new movies premiering from November 29th to December 20th. And somebody at Lifetime said, why every movie we make is the same? The small town girl comes back home for some unknown reason and falls in love with a hunky guy who she just barely remembers from middle school. Then it starts snowing and everybody starts kissing, and that's really every single movie. Well, somebody at Lifetime said, let's make a horror movie for Christmas. Why not? Do you fear what I fear? Do you fear what I fear about a secret Santa stalker? New music this week from Chrissy Hind. She's got an album called Duets Special. One of the songs is Me and Mrs. Jones that she does with Katie Lang, and then she's got another one with Debbie Harry and another one with Shirley Manson of Garbage. 32-year-old woman in Florida accused of falsely reporting a crime. She said she was sexually assaulted by a man, but the photo she gave police was an image she created using ChatGPT. And police in Salem, Massachusetts are warning residents about a viral TikTok prank that uses AI to create fake images of people attempting to break into people's homes. I think it was Inside Edition ran a sample of one of these things. They look absolutely real. They had some homeless guy sitting on a woman's couch, and she's at work, and she gets a TikTok message, and it looks real as can be. This guy just sitting there eating potato chips on her couch at her house. All right, birthdays this weekend. John Mayer, 48. Tim Robbins, 67. Bob Weir of the Grateful Dead, 78. Eminem, 53. Michael McKean from Laverne and Shirley and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, 78. This would have been Chuck Berry's birthday this weekend. Frida Pinto. Oh, my God, that beautiful woman from Slumdog Millionaire. She's 41 today. Lindsey Vonn, for quite a while there, connected to Tiger Woods, and I do mean connected. She's 41. Jean-Claude Van Damme, 65. Martina Navratilova, 69. One of the best tennis players of all time. Not always the best interview.
Well, thanks, Bill. With me is Martina Navratilova, winner here 4 times in the 80s, starting in 1983. This was your last of the Grand Slams that you finally won. What was that first one like for you?
Relief, great relief, big monkey off my back. I mean, I said it then and I'm saying it now. It really felt like maybe I'd never win that tournament, so I was very happy when it finally happened.
Was there one moment that really stands out, either that year or one of the other years that you won it?
Yeah, losing to you, bitch. No.
Wow.
Yeah, there you go. Let's hear it for live TV. And if you haven't seen it after all of the rain yesterday, man, are things going to change? I think Tuesday we still get into the low 70s, but every day next week, highs in the mid 60s and overnight lows in the 40s, and you're not even going to have to be out in the sticks to see that. We appear to have turned a corner meteorologically speaking, which also gives us an opportunity to say happy 69th birthday to our buddy Kent Earhart over at Channel 4. Kent is a good guy, and he must be awfully good at what he does, and he must be awfully popular because everybody else, you hit about 59, 60 years old, and they just throw you out the door, and Kent, 69 and still with a job, apparently as long as he would like to have it. All right, that's the weekend pickup. You know that emergency broadcast system thing that you've been hearing on radio for the last, 60 years? This is only a test. We have a great story about that coming up right around the corner here on JC's Sunday Showgram. Right down the street from where I live in Florida, about 15 minutes south of here, there is a hotel that the Stones stayed in back in the 1960s, and as the story goes, they wrote Satisfaction at the Pool. And if you're saying, JC, there is no Rolling Stones song called Satisfaction at the Pool. This is why punctuation is necessary. They wrote Satisfaction there. Anyhow, I've been living here for almost 6 years, and a couple of months ago I figured, you know what? I wonder if there's anything inside the lobby of this hotel that commemorates the fact that the Stones wrote one of the most iconic rock and roll songs ever. Maybe there's a plaque or a little sign or maybe, a little piece of memorabilia or whatever. So I figured, you know what? I'm just going to go in there and look around and maybe ask somebody, forgetting briefly that the hotel is owned by and is directly across the street from FLAG, the Scientology headquarters in Clearwater, Florida. And the minute you open that door, you start getting the willies. You start getting spooked. And they all look the same. No beards, no mustaches. Very, very expensive-looking haircuts on the women. The guys are wearing these little vests, black pants. They all are dressed in uniform. The women, same thing. Their little kerchief, and sometimes they get to wear a tuxedo vest. And I see them walking around all over Clearwater. I'm wondering where they're going. They all have little clipboards and stuff with them, and they're just walking around. And there it is, that giant structure. It's an amazing-looking place, by the way. And at night, it's even more amazing looking because they have it lit up beautifully. I recently found out that at the Tampa airport, Tom Cruise has like his own hangar and apparently millions of dollars worth of sports cars and just other vehicles and stuff like that he stores there because he's always in Clearwater, because he's always at FLAG, the headquarters of Scientology here in Clearwater. Now, the fact that they're all nuts shouldn't bother us with regard to the Rolling Stone story. So I walk in, and yeah, the guy, I would say, greets me, but he actually confronts me. And I tell him why I'm there, and he's just shaking his head. Oh, no, there's nothing here, whatever. He hands me 2 cards. One is his business card, and the other card is the, hey, ever consider Scientology? That's one of those things where you start walking briskly, and you don't really look over your shoulder. It's like Sancho Page said, don't look over your shoulder. There could be somebody gaining on you. Do you know that going all the way back to the 1950s, when I was just a really, really little boy, 1959, I think it was first grade or something like that. If you're older than dirt, like I am, you'll remember something called Conelrad. And if you bought, and if there's an old radio that your grandfather had that's still sitting around in the garage or something, you can look and you can see this. There's 2 little red marks on the dial, on the radio dial. One was like, I don't know, like 580 or 590 or something. And then the other one was like, 1610 or something like that. There were little red marks on the dial, and they were there because we was scared of them Ruskies. And they had us convinced that the Russians were going to attack us. So the FCC came along with some idea called Conelrad, which stood for something that I don't remember. But in the event of an emergency, you were supposed to tune your radio to one of those 2 little red marks on the dial for news and official information. Then we got a little older, and they started running the emergency broadcast system. This is only a test. There was some authoritative voice. This is only a test. If this had been an actual alert, you would have been instructed where to tune in your area for news and official information. This is only a test. And you would hear that tone. And again, this goes all the way back to the 50s that I can remember. And then through the 60s and the 70s, you get your first job at a radio station, and you had to learn all about the emergency broadcast system. And there were these orange envelopes that were stapled to the wall, and they made it very, very clear that you were never, ever supposed to go near those orange envelopes unless you saw bombs falling out of the sky. In which case, then you were supposed to run over there, open up the orange envelope, and inside there was something that was not unlike, Fail-Safe. What a movie that was, by the way. Larry Hagman. How did he go from that to I Dream of Jeannie? Well, anyhow, so it was supposed to be all this official information and codes. And I don't even remember what we were supposed to do. This, by the way, while bombs are falling and people are saying, oh my God, the Russians are finally attacking us, what are we supposed to do? And if you're the poor schlub who happens to be working at the radio station on that particular day, you're supposed to, keep it together. You're the vital broadcast communications link. You're like 21 years old. Oh, yeah, I got it. I can handle this. You'd be shaken like a leaf. You'd be scared to death. You'd be worried about your friends and your family. At that age especially, I did not need that kind of pressure. You're supposed to run over to the wall and open up an orange envelope and start following official governmental procedure? Never going to happen. So then, like I said, if you're working at a radio station or if you're ever just listening to a radio station, I'm sure that you heard this. This is only a test. There used to be a 1,000-cycle tone. Now it's this thing that goes chirp, chirp, chirp. And then, amazingly, they do a monthly test, and all radio stations have to participate in this. And, you're right in the middle of doing a show, and all of a sudden it's like, the monthly test is mandatory. And that test was more than just the 1,000-cycle tone and some language that meant something to somebody. And unbelievably, what happens, they would choose one radio station in every city, usually the station with the most powerful signal. In St. Louis, it was KMOX. And once a month, they would just cut into the radio station to make sure that this whole system was working. So anyhow, this was, I believe, 1998 or 1999, and we're doing the morning show. Mark Close was doing the show with me at that time, and we had John Canavera, who was one of our producers. Karen Kelly was aboard, and we had a couple of engineers, and we're like, we've never understood this. Maybe it's time we do it. I mean, for decades, we've been hearing this thing, and then we had to participate in it if you worked at a radio station, and we've never really understood it. Maybe this is the day that we're going to choose to finally figure this out, figure out how this whole thing works. I also remember our traffic guy at the time, one of the great voices in all of St. Louis radio, Lance Hildebrand, and also the sports monster, Steve Schlanger, who I'm not sure ever took anything seriously in his entire life, including figure skating during the Olympics, which he gets a chance to do. The guy made something out of himself. And this whole thing, by the way, another layer of complication, because our radio station at that time was for sale, and none of us even knew if we were going to have jobs the next day or the next hour or the next week, whatever. So it was really hard to even care about anything. And I'm sure in the back of all of our minds we're thinking, what are they going to do to us? Fire us? They're going to do that anyhow, because as soon as the sale goes through, we're probably all gone, because that's what they always do. You are about to hear the results of that morning coming up here in just a second. But one of the reasons I decided to play this for you this week is because, we just went through last month the anniversary of 9/11. Would you believe that after decades of going through this charade of the emergency broadcast system, this is only a test, all that sort of stuff, on 9/11, that damn thing didn't go off. Now, if you're saying to yourself, well, then when would it go off? If it didn't go off on 9/11, what would it take for this thing to trigger? After decades and decades of going through this rehearsal, which, as I said, I've identified it as a charade, after decades of this, 9/11 comes along. No, we didn't think it was a big enough deal. It's like, what? So anyhow, the thing about this is, you're not supposed to make fun of this. In fact, one radio station back in the 1970s, instead of having that really dry voice, this is only a test, they actually put together a little song. And it was all of the same information. It was the script exactly the way the FCC and the government provides it. But instead of just reading it, they had some guy do it in song. And the FCC came along and said, you do that again, and we're going to fine you like $1 million. And they're like, why? Where does it say we can't have fun with this? There's nothing in any of the language, any of the instructions or anything like that says it has to be done seriously. Like, we don't care. You do it again, we're fining you. So they had to throw the song out and do it the way they always been doing it before. So anyhow, this would have been while we were at KLOU, doing the morning show at KLOU. Me, Close, John, Karen, a couple of other folks helping us out. Here is how it sounded on JC's Sunday Showgram.
Well, while that song was playing, this is one of my favorite topics, the emergency action, what the hell used to be called the emergency broadcast system.
But it's the EAS, the emergency
now it's called the emergency
alert system, I guess?
Yes. Alert system.
Yeah.
Okay, now, what happens is a little light goes off on the wall, and a little piece of paper comes shooting out of a slot down beneath me here. There are some that they're like little tests. This is a test of the emergency action system. You've heard all that stuff before. But this one is different. This one actually takes over the radio station.
If you don't press, you can play it now if you want.
Yeah, you can set it up and play it when you want to.
But if you don't, it'll automatically
it'll seize the signal.
I want to see it seize the signal.
I believe it's
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
So this thing hit it. I thought this thing hit 7:32, so it should have taken over already.
15 maybe then.
Maybe it is 15. I'm not sure. All right, 2.5 hours. Are you sure it's a test? You sure it's not?
It's a required monthly test.
You should explain what this is for, too, because people listening.
This is for nothing.
No, it's
not.
not.
This is for the government to make you believe that somehow, if we're attacked, that somehow the radio station, Jesus, what now? Hello, you're on the air.
Hey, it's Joe.
Hey.
It's 15 minutes.
15
It is 15.
minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
So if I don't, what time did it come across? 7:32?
It's on a receipt.
33 or something like that.
Yeah. So actually, it looks like in about
It's over there in the
1, 2, 3, 4, maybe in about 3 to 4 minutes is when it will.
Some kind of bizarre way of making you think that if there really is an emergency, that we'll actually stay on the air to warn you about it.
Stick around,
right.
You know,
right? And
so long. Sorry.
This is a bunch of crap on the government that makes you think that somehow if Saddam Hussein loses his mind and launches a scud in this direction, that somehow the radio station is going to be in a position to help your ass out. So 7:32 is what time this thing came by. So what you're basically saying is sometime in the next 90 seconds, Joe?
Yeah, basically.
Sometime in the next 90 seconds, what's going to happen? I'm going to be talking and all of a sudden it's just going to cut us off?
Yeah. What happens is it seizes the air chain.
It seizes the air chain.
It kills all of your stuff and just goes straight into the air chain.
So I could be in the middle of some bit of hilarious comedy.
Yeah, what are the odds? Go ahead.
And the government is just going to butt in on the show,
right?
Yeah.
And start talking.
It's because they own the signals. They own the airwaves. We don't.
Can kiss my ass.
Well, they could probably do that if they wanted to.
What, Joe?
Well, the whole idea is they give you 15 minutes to own it yourself.
Right, right.
You're 15 minutes to own it yourself. Joe, that's an interesting perspective. You are in control of your own destiny for 15 minutes.
After that, the government takes over.
And then they say, we're coming in.
Big Brother is watching.
Okay, now it's if they don't interrupt within the next 30 seconds, then they ain't going to do it, and the system doesn't work, and that means we're being attacked.
Joe, are you sure this is this the monthly today?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so
one of our sister stations already called me about it.
Oh, it's so funny because you'll be talking
up already.
You'll be talking, all of a sudden it goes tick 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 tick, and you hear this little ticking noise, and you're gone. So
it's kind of like when the sale goes through.
Exactly, that's a determination.
They sort of seize the signal and do what they want.
Except this is only monthly, and the sales go through more often.
They're going to give us 15 minutes too. Your 15 minutes is up, buddy.
That's right. Change the format. Tick 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 tick.
We got 2 minutes.
2 minutes. There are 2 minutes remaining.
We're going to DEFCON 5.
That's right.
Yeah.
Don't be alarmed, ladies and gentlemen, when this happens.
Could it possibly have had anything to do with the changing of the clocks?
27 people were injured this week after they were told to spring ahead and fall back.
All right. We don't know anything. All right.
Exactly 2 minutes.
We have exactly 2 minutes. So now here's Mark with the news.
Quick.
This is the way to do it.
Here's your alert.
This is the way to do it.
This just in. Bend over, grab your ankles, kiss your butt goodbye. That message from the EAS. That's all I'm telling anybody.
So now, Joe, just so that people who are listening to this have some idea what we're talking about, in the event of an actual emergency, how would this system that is going to interrupt us sometime in the next 90 seconds,
minute 30,
how would it help us? John all of a sudden is the Secretary of Defense. John thinks he's in war games.
I'll be in the bunker if you need me. See you later.
Have thermonuclear impact in 30 seconds.
We have Joshua sitting here. How is this supposed to work in the event of an actual emergency?
Well, there's like codes and things.
Yeah.
If you're looking at EAS,
we have code words. You open it up, and there's special code words.
Where are their code words?
It is not to be open until an actual emergency.
That is
1 minute.
correct.
JC has to open it, and then Close has to verify it.
You're supposed to know. Yeah, that's right. We crack the little plastic thing. We each have a key to the men's room, and that's
code
where we
has
go
been
and
verified.
hide when we get bombed.
What happens if I open it now? What are they going to do to me?
Oh, I don't know.
All right, the air raid has begun.
45 seconds.
Close has the con.
That's right.
Close has been.
That's what it is.
Close has been conning people for years.
Better believe it, pal.
Yeah.
Built a career on it.
Am I supposed to know how this works?
30 seconds.
John, you better learn.
Don't know now. It's too
Scaring
late.
us.
And you better learn pretty fast. You got 30 seconds. The entire St. Louis area is toast.
in the event of an actual emergency, Joe, what would happen?
15 seconds.
I can answer that.
Be quick.
All right, Mark, you answer it. Go ahead.
You'll be given code words
10.
to verify. There are code words in the studio. In the book.
Where? 5.
That's back in the book for the EAS. To
I love you
verify.
all. It's been good working with you.
Love
See
you
you
Ma.
later.
Love
This is the required monthly test. This station serves the bi-state St. Louis operational area.
Somebody get me to a hospital.
I'm getting the hell out of here.
They obviously recorded that guy next to the surf somewhere. What was all that noise in the background?
Now, Joe, I go back to my original question. How is that supposed to help me?
That there? That won't help you, but if there is a real emergency, they'll send some other message along with it.
Send some other message.
They assume we'll stay here to read it.
That is exactly correct.
I assume you're in there to read it within 15 minutes if there is a real emergency.
That's going to happen.
Yeah.
And the whole thing Close was talking about the code, that's just to make sure it is a real emergency.
That's you verify whether it's a real code or a real emergency.
But are you trying to tell me that somewhere in the studio there's an envelope, and inside the envelope there's like a code word?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
the EAS book.
But
Sure
now,
is.
but now, if I go to that envelope right now and open that up, what happens to me?
Oh,
I don't know.
Oh, it can't be an envelope. It has to be a case where you crack it.
It's read what it says in the front. It says authenticator words.
EAS authenticator list for official use only. Do not open until needed to authenticate actual emergency messages.
And it's got a different word for each month.
Note the authentication words received on the message, e.g. Alpha Golf.
Ooh, cool.
Open
Bravo 1.
That's Army talk.
Open the red envelope. Proceed down the column of the current month to the appropriate day noted, being careful to dodge the missiles.
That's right.
In the message, and compare the words received in the message against the authentication list. If they match, you have an authentic message. Test authenticator words are listed below. Note the authentication words received in the message, Romeo, Juliet.
Cool.
This is like Crimson Tide.
Cool.
Compare the test authenticator words in the month received in the message
I think
against
this is
the
funny,
words.
don't you guys?
Yeah.
This is serious.
Against the words listed below. If they match, you have an authentic test message. I don't have the slightest idea what I just read. And
you don't need to know.
And with Scud missiles being launched at me, I'm going to be sitting here going, all right, Alpha, Golf,
Romeo and Juliet. We're far out there. It's because it's a verification so that they know you're not getting a false alarm, a false alert.
We're in the month of April.
There's no station in St. Louis. We wouldn't want to do a false nuclear alert or anything.
Okay. And then the termination word is Foxtrot Charlie. The hell is going on? Suddenly,
it's too obvious, though.
Suddenly, it's like an episode of...
I mean, if I was going to write a fake warning, I'd put Foxtrot Charlie because it seems like an obvious code word.
Especially now that we just broadcast.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Joe.
Was I not supposed to do that?
Every
Probably
fax
not.
coming in.
Probably not.
On that note, I got to go.
Engineering is bailing out, ladies and gentlemen.
He's got resumes to send out.
There's nothing on here that says I can't read it. I could have read last month, and then we wouldn't be any...
JC, there are 4 men in black suits and sunglasses with large guns at the front door looking for you.
What else is new?
If they're like the earthquake or if there's a big storm coming in, they also give you an EAS alert, and you can get on the air and say, we are
There's an
having a big
earthquake
problem.
scooter public. I'm hiding under the counter.
And the ultimate design is also to allow the president from the White House to be able to override programming on every radio station in America.
That's right.
And address everybody simultaneously.
And there'll be like one station that will stay on the air within this like 3-state area. You know what station that is?
Yeah, I can just imagine.
There you go.
WEW?
That's it, baby. 1,000 red hot watts.
Can't stop Glenn Miller just for an emergency.
It's a daytime station, so if we get bombed at night, we're SOL. You know, it ain't going to help.
Bad planning. Our bad.
Well, that's not even fair.
What do you mean it's not fair?
It's not even fair that they should be on the air.
But you know why they do that?
Because you know what would happen if there was a real alert and they said, all right, guys, here's the deal. Every radio station is off the air. KMOX is the only station on the air. You guys are it. You have to save St. Louis. One by one. Heart attack, heart attack, heart attack, heart attack, heart attack. Seven guys piled up in the hallway would look like Jonestown.
But they got all the funeral homes on the air anyway, so they're working trade. I mean, that's part of the deal.
Kudus just backs up a giant meat wagon to one Memorial Drive and starts hauling, starts dragging guys out by their ankles.
They're throwing corpses off the 3rd floor. All right, here's another one.
They're using a pitchfork. They're just where goes another one?
Here's another guy from Continuity. Take him too.
Bodies stacked up like Jonestown.
It's JC's Sunday Showgram on NewsTalkSTL.
JC, you know.
Maybe I'm a Is it the way I really need you?
It's already popping out there.
It is. Good morning.
That's amazing.
This makes this market the oldest continuous farmers market west of the Mississippi River.
That's amazing.
There's just a giant variety of things here.
That's amazing.
100% of our vendors here on Saturday.
It's amazing.
It's the biggest investment that the city has made in Tular's farmers market in decades.
That's amazing. God bless America.
In the morning, don't say you love me. Come on, meet me in the morning. You can't see the morning. Get up in the morning like the rest of us. I used to wake up in the morning. Woke up this morning. What did I say?
Now you will see Morning Maniac music.
What a beautiful morning. It's great to be a horse on a day like this.
Your station has a lot of problems.
Tell me about it. Just look at our morning guy.
I'm easy like Sunday morning. Beautiful Sunday. You brought your Sunday morning sunshine.
Well, I woke up Sunday morning.
Sunday, kind of love.
On a blue Sunday.
I remember Sunday morning.
Sunday morning, creeping like a nun.
Sunday always comes too late.
And now, real behind-the-scenes stories and tall tales from back in the day. From a guy who was there for all of it. It's JC's Sunday Showgram on NewsTalkSTL.
I'm also going to need you to go ahead and come in on Sunday, okay?
Now, here's JC.
Well, we've got a guy here who's been a lifelong Cardinal baseball fan growing up down in Arkansas, Billy Bob Thornton. And in addition to that, I did an interview with him when I did the press junket for Sling Blade way back when. I walk into the interview room out in Southern California. He's wearing a St. Louis Cardinals hat. I'm like, who the hell are you? Why are you wearing a Cardinal hat? And he tells me the whole story about how he, grew up, following Bob Gibson and listening to the games on KMOX when he was a kid. And now he makes this movie Sling Blade. And, oh, God, I'd love to, maybe throw out the first pitch someday. So it took me about a year and a half working behind the scenes. And I finally sort of worked with the Cardinals, and we managed to get the schedules matched up. And Billy Bob was shooting a movie down in the Arkansas area. And they finished at like 4 a.m. Because a lot of these movies, especially, they shoot until almost dawn. And then they got into this mobile home and drove from northern Arkansas all the way to St. Louis. Mm-hmm. This is back in 1998. The home run chase. Mark McGwire, nationally televised game on a Saturday. Anybody remember that game? Billy Bob Thornton throws out the first pitch, and then Mark McGwire gets tossed out of the game in the first inning. And I thought a riot was going to break out. It was right at the tail end of the home run chase, and everybody's there. People driving from hundreds of miles. We're watching Mark McGwire, we're watching history. McGwire gets into a shouting match with the home plate umpire on his first at bat. And then, of course, after the Cardinals' World Series victory in 2006, Billy Bob was the guy who voiced the DVD, commemorating the whole thing. He was the guy that did the voiceover for the whole story of the 2006 World Series Cardinals. Yesterday, we had a little chance to talk with Billy Bob.
All right, tell the story. I think everybody's heard it by now, but I want to hear it again. You learned to pitch through a Bob Gibson book or record. What was it?
It was a book. He had an instructional pitching book back in the 60s when I was a little kid, and I learned all my pitches out of that book. Of course, I had to learn how to throw them properly, but my dad was real good about, coaching me and everything. So he used to people used to hang a tire up from a rope, and throw through it. My dad put the tire on the ground against a tree with a mattress behind it, so I'd keep the ball down. Yeah.
Now, back in 1998, you got to throw out the first pitch at a Cardinal game. Everybody remembers that game because a riot almost broke out afterwards. Not because of anything you did, by the way, but you got a chance to talk with Bob Gibson. What was that conversation like?
Well, it was fantastic. Yeah, I threw the ball to Gibson. He caught the ball for me, and I threw him a slider. I thought he knew I was a pitcher, so I had to throw it. I couldn't just roll it up there. And he complimented me on it. It was pretty great. And after that, he and I, since then, we've seen each other several times, and he's always been very gracious to me and always tells me great stories about when he played and everything. That day in 98, that's when McGwire was booted out of the game his first at bat. I remember that. I was going to see Mark after the game. I had his cell phone number. We were going to have dinner or something.
You didn't bother following up.
I didn't even call.
All right, let's hear a little bit about the band. We saw you on Bill Maher about 2 weeks ago. Great interview, by the way. I think we learned more about you and about your musical background and just sort of your early influences in that interview than maybe anything I'd ever seen with you. The box, we got to talk some John Prine. I feel like trading lyrics with you. She was a level-headed dancer on the road to alcohol, and I was just a soldier on the way to Montreal. I mean, big John Prine fans here in the Midwest. Just talk about what's going on with the band these days.
Well, we just got off of 2 successive tours with Willie Nelson, the Midwest, and then the East Coast. We're now climbing the charts in the Americana charts. We're, last I looked, number 24 in the Americana chart in the new record. It's called Mod Billy. We're in the process of making another record and have another one coming out at the end of the year, so we can't stop. We just keep recording, and it's going great.
What was the turning point with that band? Because when people heard, oh, yeah, okay, Billy Bob's a musician now, right, sure, whatever, and people just almost laughed at the idea, they ain't laughing anymore. It's just like good music.
Well, I think that one thing that helped, I think, is because I had 4 solo records out already, so I think people have been used to that for 8 or 10 years already. So I think that helped a lot with the Boxmasters. The fact that I already had some background in at least in the major recording world. But I grew up in music. I sort of accidentally became an actor. So yeah.
And speaking of acting, what do we got on the burners these days?
Well, we're working on a sequel for Bad Santa.
To what?
A sequel to Bad Santa. Yeah, we're talking about that one right now. I think we're probably going to do that toward the end of the year, and got a couple other things on the burner. Just thinking about it.
Well, no, I mean, I'm just thinking out loud here, and you figure you almost have to have the kid. Can you get the kid back?
Oh yeah, we'll get him.
And Lauren Graham in on it too?
More than likely. We're not sure. It's not written yet, so we're not sure exactly how it's going to work out. But I would imagine. I mean, unfortunately, Bernie Mac and John Ritter both passed on, so but we've got some pretty good ideas on it. I think it might work out nice.
Well, it's good to have you back here in these parts. Have a great time this weekend.
Thanks. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, and when I think of Christmas, I think of multiple references to anal sex, which, of course, I still remember that Melanie Moon, the fine news anchor for Channel 11 here in town, who grew up in a family, I believe her father was a minister. She was seated next to me at the screening of Bad Santa. We didn't really know anything about Bad Santa. And after about the 17th anal sex reference, she leaned over to me and she said, I got to go. And she just and just walked out of the theater.
It's JC's Sunday Showgram on NewsTalkSTL.
When you work at a big radio station, you got a big morning show, you get offers all the time. Offers to do things and offers to take free trips. And the Disney people used to come to us, I don't know, maybe once a year, once every 2 years, and they'd say, yeah, come on down, do the show. We got a studio for you. You don't have to do anything. We'll pay for everything. All you got to do is talk about this big new Disney attraction that we have down here. So come on down, do the show for 3 or 4 days. And they're like, we got to kill, right? And for the most part, the Disney people were really, really cooperative. Every once in a while, you get somebody who's a little bit overzealous because you weren't talking about Disney enough. Like, we just can't come down here for 4 hours and just talk about nothing but Disney. We got to maintain an audience, for heaven's sakes. But like I said, for the most part, they were very, very cooperative and a lot of fun.
It's a man with a guitar behind me, and I've cued him to play, but he won't play.
His name is Dean.
Oh, you need
He was waiting to be invited.
Man with a guitar.
So basically, anything you say to the man,
That was great. Good job, Dean.
There you go. There you go, Dean.
Here, I walk around, man with a guitar.
We need, you know what? When we get back to St. Louis, we need this.
Yes, we do.
We need this guy to just walk up behind us and start playing,
Hey, Dean, every time somebody says something funny here, which might not happen very often today, but let's hear it.
That was really funny. Let's hear it.
Oh, wow.
That might be the only time you play today.
And then you have to, there's going to be some dirge, for sad story.
That was supposed to be funny. Real nice try.
You'll be using that one a lot, Dean.
Stay close, Dean.
Dean, you get paid to do this?
This is my job. Yeah.
Walt Disney World employs you, or the Animal Kingdom.
My day job is working at the Animal Kingdom, and they tell me about people. I walk around. Like the folks who were in line for the show that I work is called the Festival of the Lion King. And they tell me about folks. And I understand you guys are JC and the U-Man. Do I have a moment? Can I write a song about JC and the U-Man?
Well, we have names too. Laurie Mack and Jennifer Sparks. But that's too complicated. He's not going to remember it. Yeah.
It's JC and the U-Man, Sparky and Mac.
Sparky and Mac.
Oh, he didn't even need time.
We're ready. We're on. U-Man and JC, it's a fact. The ladies tell me they would not be nothing without Sparky and Mac. Now Sparky, she's the sweetheart, the baby, it's true. And Mac, when we need to know something, the boys come to you. It's gonna be a lot of fun at the Animal Kingdom. Think about all the wild animals you can see. Now Sparky and Mac, they were entertained, that's a fact. What are them wild animals out there? Why, that's U-Man and JC. U-Man and JC.
That was great. Good job.
That's an open. Wow. John, this is the best newscast you've ever done.
Thank you very much.
That guy was unbelievable. Man, I'm only about an hour away from Disney. I want to go back there and see if he's still roaming around the hallways and the lobbies, the Animal Kingdom. You take a trip down there, ask for Dean, see if he still works there. Okay, Sunday was this big anniversary celebration, and they had radio stations from all over the country broadcasting live for this big celebration. It was like the 100th anniversary of Walt Disney's head being frozen or something. I don't know. We were down there doing the show. Well, we were not alone. We found out that Regis and Kelly were doing the show down there too. They were in a completely different part of the park. And of course, all these radio stations from all over the country like, bring us Regis and Kelly. And they're like, that ain't going to happen. So I pick up the phone and I call Eric Mink, who at the time was still working as the media critic for the New York Daily News. And I call him up and I explain the situation. And Eric, who is very, very close to Regis at that time, gives me a call back about 10 minutes later. And he says, in an hour, be at such and such a place, whatever, they're going to send a golf cart for you. They're going to take you over there. And sure enough, the golf cart shows up. One of the Disney employees says, hop in. We go driving to the other end of the park. There's a big trailer, and out pops Regis and Kelly.
Kelly, probably before you were even born, you don't even know about this. This man standing right next to you did a show in St. Louis.
Yes.
What years was that, Regis?
It was 71 to 74, and it was on Saturday night, and it was called Regis Philbin Saturday Night in St. Louis. And it was a lot of fun and a highly rated show, and it was a live show most of the time. And I'm glad some people still remember it.
Yeah. Now, what was it like, and what do you remember about the city of St. Louis? What were your hangouts? Who did you hang with? I mean, did you have local celebrities that you kind of hung with at that time?
We went after the show to the top of, what is the restaurant?
Well, it used to be the Clarion Hotel.
Really?
Yeah, that cylindrical one?
No, it wasn't that one. See, you don't even know you're St. Louis. You know what I mean? You missed a big shot there on radio. You don't even know St. Was it the Ramada? Early days, yeah. And we go around, and we go up there, have a few drinks, a little dinner. Was great.
Just like now?
Just like now.
Kelly and I always get drunk. About 10:15, we're
10:15, we're on the floor.
We're whacked out of our mind. We don't know who we are. Yeah.
Kelly, how did this job and how did Regis, how is he different than what you were told it was going to be like working with him?
He's not different at all. He's exactly how he is. I mean, he doesn't...
What did they say about me, Kelly? What did they say? What does he know that we don't know?
He doesn't change. What you see on camera is what you see off camera.
Yes, that's it.
That's it.
And the other big difference from doing a local show like you did in the 70s in St. Louis, you do those local shows kind of on a shoestring. There's like 150 people running around here. What did they all do?
Please, believe me.
We can't figure it out.
Around here, there are 150 people, but up in New York, we have like about 8 people on our staff. I've always done a local show. When I started my local show, I was it. I booked the guests. I produced the show. I flew them down PSA into San Diego. I seated the audience. I did it all.
They stayed at the house with you and Joy.
That's it. But, I've always been able to do it on a small... In fact, I think it's easier that way. There's less confusion. There's less people bumping into each other, and you're more apt to get things done correctly.
Kelly, the last time we saw Regis, it was in the Bahamas. I don't even know if you remember this. You were working for Lifetime Cable at the time, and you were doing some stuff, the Boathouse restaurant right across from the hotel. Yeah. And at that time, it was kind of a small production staff. At that time, my career was doing great. You were on Lifetime. Now my career is in the dumper, and you're doing great.
And that's the way it should be. I can't think of a more fitting ending to that story. You and the dumper, you got a bigger staff than I've got here. You're talking about us? Who are all these people hanging around you, fixing your hat, putting your sunglasses together? That was the Cable Health Network, right? Before Lifetime?
Yeah.
Right around the time Lifetime was born, out of the Cable Health Network. Yeah, I had a cable show, and I enjoyed it very much.
And by the way, Kelly, we have it on good authority that the New York Daily News today, Eric Mink's column, that's our buddy, he does the show with us, is writing a great story basically saying that the people at ABC might be out of their minds for maybe thinking about cutting back on Millionaire. Okay?
I think that there is no network without Millionaire. I think that it's been proven time and again that Millionaire has saved the network. It's the only show worth watching.
Look at Regis looking at you.
He's the king. Stop sticking me with that cattle prod. He's the king.
Where does that all stand at this point?
Actually, it's left, you know what, they don't have to make a decision until next May. You know that. That's when they make their final decision. Somebody backed this poor executive against the wall and said, can you guarantee? There are no guarantees in television when you're 7 months away from determining what your next year's schedule is. So he said, I can't guarantee it. And there aren't many shows that he could guarantee anyway. So that's started the whole furor.
Regis and Kelly, Channel 4, 9 o'clock, right after we get off the air in St. Louis. And, of course, Millionaire on ABC 30. Guys, thank you very much. Have a great time in Orlando.
Thanks a lot. We love St. Louis. I remember it as being one of the great cities I ever was in, and the sports fans there are just the best.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you so much.
It's JC's Sunday Showgram on NewsTalk-STL.
This is the Sunday Showgram with JC here on NewsTalk-STL and 94.1 and 101.9. And on Sunday morning here, we tell stories. On Saturday night, we play music from 6 until 9 o'clock. All the great songs that have been ignored by St. Louis radio, but that you know and that you love. But, you know, when you got a 300-song playlist handed down by the corporate guys, that's an awful lot of great music that just gets pinched. So we take care of it on Saturday nights here on NewsTalk-STL. Have you ever been arrested? I did everything backwards in my life. I was always in trouble in school, but I got good grades. And he did a lot of participation in school activities. I was voted. If you look at my yearbook from St. Lawrence High School, class 1971, you'll see it right there. Best school spirit and best speaker. Now, the school spirit thing was bogus because all that was in reference to is at the football games, we had a couple of hundred of ne'er-do-wells dressed like slobs, and I had a bugle, and we would do all these chants and cheers and everything. We got a rope, we got a tree, all we need is a referee. Munch, munch, munch. The ref brought his lunch. Eat it, ref. Stuff like that. And the Christian Brothers were powerless to stop us, and somehow at the end of 4 years in that high school, people are like, yeah, school spirit. Sure. I mean, I guess. But my dad always bragged to all of his friends that he never had to go down to the police station to pick up his kid. I was never arrested. I did a lot of stuff I should have been arrested for, but I never got caught. I could run real fast. Back in those days. See, the mistake a lot of guys made was if they got in trouble and the cops showed up, they'd start running down the street. And if you get in trouble like that, you got to do the Ferris Bueller thing. You got to cut through backyards, jump over fences. You don't take the street or the sidewalk. A police car can drive right along with you. You start cutting and zigzagging and doing a serpentine thing, and then never catch you. Just a little advice to all the youngsters listening this morning. Your old Uncle JC will keep you out of jail. All of the trouble that I started to get into came as an adult and as a result of this goofy business. This first one wasn't necessarily a brush with the police, but with a security guard. And those guys, some of them are even worse than a cop who isn't necessarily always remembering the right way to do things. Let's just leave it at that. And I have a lot of friends who are police officers. I think it is the hardest job. And so if you're a good cop, you have my unwavering respect. If you're a bad cop, I got real problems. But anyway, let's talk about security. So I'm working at Channel 5, and the assignment editor says, hey, you know what's in town tonight? This outfit called Hot Stuff. H-A-U-T-E. Hot Stuff. And it's basically like a ripoff of the Chippendales. So just be careful how you put the story together. Tell your photographer to be careful how to shoot it. We don't need a lot of crotch shots and things like that. But you know what to do. Keep it fun. I was like, sure, no problem. We go out there. Holy crap. There must have been 800 women at this thing. It was like the executive inn or something towards the airport. And I walk in there. You got to be kidding me. And outside of the guys who were semi-clad up on stage, I was the only guy in the entire place. And I'm thinking to myself, wow. Because if you were me and you were a guy, what would you be thinking? Wow. So I instruct my photographer, who was a woman, still is a woman, by the way. I said, shoot this. You know, if you got any of your own ideas, go ahead, use them. This will be great. We'll fix it all in editing, but go out, just have a great old time. And I'll meet you back here in like 15 minutes. Go ahead and start shooting stuff. So she takes off. I'm standing there. I got a clipboard and I'm watching all of this. And all of a sudden, I am assaulted from behind by what is obviously a pretty strong guy. And he's got me like in a half Nelson. And he's mumbling something like, all right, we're getting you out of here. Come on, let's go, buddy. Come on. I don't know who you think you are, but come on, let's go. And he's pushing me out the door and out onto the street. And he sort of gives me a shove. And I turn around and I look at him. You idiot. I'm a television reporter. I got a photographer in there who's shooting a story for Channel 5. I don't recall him being awfully apologetic either. Then this one got a little more serious. When I jumped stations from KC over to KSD, it was time for the VP parade, the VP Fair parade. And we entered a big bus that was all decorated, and I was going to broadcast live from the parade on a wireless microphone while this parade is weaving through the streets of St. Louis. I'm in the bus. I'm waving to everybody. Everybody's waving to me. We got streamers. We got placards. We got all this sort of stuff all over the bus. And we'll be broadcasting live from the parade while we're in the parade. What a great idea. About 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I get a call from the radio station because the parade's supposed to start at 6. They're like, St. Louis police have indicated that they will arrest you if you try to broadcast from the VP parade because it is a private parade and you're not allowed in it. And I'm like, well, did you pay the fee and did you fill out the forms? Yeah, we did everything and they don't care. And in one of the very few times that I can recall that radio station management actually supported me because, you know, they're like, you go out there every morning and you tell all your jokes and you say all your stuff and just make those ratings go crazy because we can charge more for commercials. But by the way, if anything goes wrong, we're going to throw you under the bus and pretend you don't even work here. That's just how those people are. But in this particular case, this pissed off the general manager of the radio station, and she very quickly put together a plan B. And the plan B was for me to use that wireless microphone from a city street corner along the parade route, public property, breaking no laws. And also, she hired a videotape crew to be focused, trained on me the entire time, just in case anybody accused me of anything. We would have videotape proof that I didn't do anything wrong. A couple of hours later, we find out that the St. Louis Police Department raided our bus, the one that I was supposed to be on, and ripped everything off of it and ripped everything out of it and said, where is he? Where is he? We're going to arrest him. They're like, it's funny you should bring that up. He's standing on a St. Louis street corner on public property. They're in I almost said it there. They're in the damn thing that you can do. You think I was always making that stuff up about how malevolent the VP Fair people were, especially towards me? Well, they didn't get me that night. We broke no laws. We did our broadcast. That was the end of that. And if you're saying, why would they do anything like that? Well, there were two reasons. Number one, I think they had visions of the final scene of Animal House. Can I have 10,000 marbles, please? For whatever reason, they got the idea that I was going to disrupt things. I wasn't. And the second problem was that year, the VP Fair Queen happened to be the daughter of one Mr. Bob Hyland, the overlord at KMOX. And I said something to the effect of, oh, yeah, this is the first time where at the VP Fair parade, the veil was going to be over the Queen's face, indicating that she wasn't exactly a looker. Truth be known, I'd never seen her. I didn't even know what she looked like. She could have looked like Kim Kardashian, for all I know. I was just trying to get in his knickers, that's all. So I think it's safe to say they didn't like me. Now let's move on to my favorite story, and this has to do with a movie screening in South County at the Ronnie Cinema. Now, we as movie critics see movies lots of different ways. Sometimes we're in New York or California and we see a movie a couple of weeks before its release. Sometimes there's a small theater, like a screening room. There's a couple of them in St. Louis, and you go in and it's only about, 40 or 50 seats. We might be in there at, 11, 12, and we might be in there at 10 or 11 in the morning seeing a movie, St. Louis Film Critics Association. And then the third way, and they tend to do this with comedies because I guess their opinion is that if you're sitting in a screening room and a movie's supposed to be funny, if you're not surrounded by 400 people who are just laughing their guts out, that you won't think it's funny. Like it's got to be in a big group. I think there's flaws in that philosophy, but you know what? So what? No problem. And they rope off a section in the theater. You go in, you sit down, you see the movie. You're surrounded by usually radio station contest winners, and you see the movie with a big crowd. And then you go back, you do your story, you write your review, you put it on TV, whatever it is, whatever your medium is. On one particular night, there was an accident on southbound 270, and I got to the theater late. Now, I'm expected to see this movie and put a story on the air. So, being late is real bad. So I finally get past the accident. I'm driving like 70 miles an hour to the Ronnie's. I park my car, go running inside. I come up to a little girl who appears to be about 16 years old, and I explain the situation to her, and she's looking at me like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And I say, look, I'm late for the movie. She goes, well, you need a ticket. I go, no. I'm with the critics, and it's okay. Just check with your theater manager or something. It would be fine. And I just sort of blow past her, and we go, thank you. I go run it. I sit down in the theater. About 5 minutes later, two young men who appear to be in their early 20s, both of whom look like they were possible walk-ons for the St. Louis Rams defensive line. And they come walking in, and they're looking for me. It's very clear they're looking for me. And they toss me out of the place. You're trespassing. And, try to explain this to two 22-year-old guys who are just wanting so badly to just bust your head open. And I just finally figured, what the hell? I missed the movie. It happens. A couple of days later, I get a call at the radio station from the South County Police. I don't know, it was a sheriff or state police or what it was down there, but it was somewhere in South County. And they're like, we're going to swear out a warrant for your arrest. My arrest for what? Well, the ticket taker at the Ronnie Cinema the other night says you assaulted her, and the family is going to press charges. This, of course, comes as news to me, seeing as I hadn't come within 20 feet of her. I never touched her. I never even gave her a dirty look or said anything inappropriate. She's a kid. I'm a grown man. I'm not going to do that. Like, well, they're going to arrest you. Like, the hell they are. So I just ignored it. A couple of days later, cop calls my boss at the radio station and says, listen to this. If I have to, I will come down to the radio station during his show tomorrow morning, and I will arrest him on the air. He's not getting away with this. What that cop did not understand is I had already spoken to the lovely Kelly Hoskins, who was the longtime media liaison between Warenberg Theaters and the media. She's like, I heard what happened. This is ridiculous. We've spoken to everybody involved. And I'm like, yeah, well, the cops are after me. So I called the cop on the advice of my lawyer. My lawyer says, call him. So I called him, and this guy's like, you got to turn yourself in. I said, I'm just fascinated by the fact that you still don't understand what happened. that you think I put my hands on a 16-year-old girl in a movie theater, and I'm especially fascinated by the fact that you're still trying to go through with this, considering the security footage shows that I did not come within 20 feet of her. Dead silence on the other end of the line. Dead silence. He says, there's video of it. I said, oh, yeah, of course. I just assumed that you'd already seen the video. That's why I couldn't understand why. That's why I couldn't understand why you were still coming after me. Guess what? I never heard from that cop again. So I guess the moral of the story is that when you hear stories and you think to yourself, oh, my God, that's awful. That's terrible what he did. And that's happened numerous times in St. Louis. And I should also tell you that accounts of this is not just me yakking away. There's accounts of this stuff in the paper, and there's police reports and all that sort of stuff. So it's not like I can make this up. My imagination isn't fertile enough to make stuff up like this. J.C. Corcoran, loved by millions. All right, if we could shift gears right now, no pun intended, time to talk to our buddy Skip Weber, without whose cooperation we would not even be on the air. Weber Chevrolet is the place. Skip, as you know, big music lover, and we lost Ace Frehley this week. Skip, got any thoughts?
Well, I always thought Kiss was fun. They, back when they were big in the mid-'70s, by the way, it's really funny. Back in those days, I was young. I was in middle school, and we all called him Ace Frehley, which is correct back then. And sometime around the mid-'80s, got down amongst everybody that we needed to pronounce it Fraley. And I think it's because he had that group Fraley's Comet and Haley's Comet and Fraley's Comet. I don't know if he said it or people thought that, but anyway, so then I started mispronouncing it. Now I'm back to saying it again. But I always thought they were fun. When they were out, I was more of a Southern rocker at that point with Leonard Skinner and Charlie Daniels. And of course you had the little bit older stuff, Zeppelin and the Who and the Beatles and all that stuff I liked better than Kiss. But I never would turn them off the radio, that's for sure. And they were just kind of fun. And when the parent company of their record company said lose the costumes, they said no, and their more immediate labels agreed with them and stood with them, and they held out and they won that battle. So good for them on that.
Story that rocked not only the St. Louis baseball world, but the baseball world in general is this thing about Mike Shildt. What is your take on what you've heard so far?
Well, I haven't read a lot of it. I've been busy this week, but I did read an article or two, and it looks like there was a basic clubhouse mutiny where most of the staff would quit. Players aren't going to play if he stays around. And I guess him leaving San Diego, there wasn't that kind of uproar from their team, but upon his leaving, some of this other truth came out. And I never particularly thought of him as someone that looked like he was hard to work for, but he seemed like he was just so micromanagerial that people couldn't take it.
We've harbored a lot of anger and hostility towards the Cardinal organization the last couple of years, and I think that even when the Cardinals played San Diego, there were a lot of people cheering for San Diego because they thought, as we all did, that Shildt got a raw deal, and it appears to be that nothing could be further from the truth.
So I always felt, okay, I get it. They're approaching this logically. There's a reason for it. When they didn't do that with Shildt, to me, I knew there was something lurking in the shadows. Whether it was his fault or someone else's, or whether it was one of their star players, Clash, Arenado, or somebody. I wasn't as hard on the Cardinals brass, I think, as a lot of people are, because it just made, to me, it's the simplest explanation always, okay? There's something there. They're not going to say what it is, but since I understand their logic, even when I disagree with it on other things, I'm going to assume that it would make sense if I knew it, even if I don't agree with it.
Speaking of micromanaging, when people come into a car dealership or any business, most people want to know, what kind of people am I dealing with here? And you guys have a great reputation that has been built over decades and over a century now, but for people who are like, well, I've been hearing great things about Weber Chevrolet. I've never really been in there. But what is your philosophy about how you run your business? And I know that's a very, very tough question to answer in a short period of time. But do you have a basic philosophy that you want people to know?
Sure. The very basic core principle is customer comes first, employees come second, profit comes third. That is why, and everybody from the ground up knows that, and the fact that they come second gives them a good attitude about putting the employees first. Because it all goes in that order, it's very easy for my guys to sit there and say, customer's always right, customer's opinion and needs go ahead of mine. So when you start from there, treating people right and making them happy becomes just a bit easier.
All right. Well, you got 3 locations: Weber Chevrolet, Granite City, Columbia, Illinois, Olive and 270. Online, of course, at WeberChevrolet.com. The Weber Automotive Group includes the Ford dealership in Metro East, where I know you have all sorts of service vehicles and vans, and people have business and they need to have deliveries, and you got all that stuff too. And again, you can see it all, the Weber Automotive Group at WeberChevrolet.com. All right, I know you're on the road. Have a safe trip. We'll talk to you in a couple of days. Thanks, Skip.
All right, thanks, JC. Good luck.
JC's Wayback Machine.
I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man.
Live from the Abbey Road Studios in London, the Morning Zoo, the Matzerpanska, the Breakfast Club, the Cub Cards Weekend Series in Chicago, live from the Moscow McDonald's, live from the Field of Dreams, the Call to Iran, the book, Real Life Stories of JC and the Breakfast Club, or 20 Minutes in the Dark with Madonna, the Food and Cash Salvation Bash, live from the Grammys in LA and New York, the Physics of Santa, Knuckles the Burglar, live from the World Series, live from the Super Bowl, the Break-In at Mike Bush's, JC and the U-Man, Party Town at the VP Fair.
I've been everywhere.
It's JC's Sunday Showgram on News Talk STL.
All right, my apologies. I screwed up on time this week. I'll get it right next week. Don't forget, this whole thing goes to podcast starting tomorrow morning on the radio station website and the free app, NewsTalkSTL.com. Have a great remainder of your weekend. We'll be back again Saturday night playing music from 6 until 9 at night. And then Sunday morning from 7 to 9 with the Sunday Showgram. In the meantime, we've beaten this one to death. Have a good one. See you later.
Now get out! Get out! Get out! Get out! Get out!
Why do you always come through the curtain with such gusto?
We're home free. School's out, baby.
Good show?
Nothing to talk about. Nothing to critique. Great show. Great guests tomorrow. You go home, have a glass of wine, whack off. I'll see you tomorrow.
That's the post-show critique?
Yeah. You're the best.
Bye!